say or has anything to add to the conversation? Yeah.
Hello. My name is John Bond. I go to India from time to time to a Initiatives of Change conference center. And the Dalai Lama sends some of his people to this conference center. And one year there was a man there who was in charge of the Dalai Lama's relationships with China. And he's a man who had suffered deeply. He'd lost a number of his family brutally at the hands of the Chinese. And he said, I know why the Dalai Lama asked me to do this work. Because he said he knew that I could not do this work unless I was prepared to forgive. And he said, I've learned a lot through that. But he said one thing is that forgiveness is not like passing a university degree. He said you have to do it again and again and again. Now, you said something about you felt something which was a transforming experience.
Speak a little, John, into the mic. It's hard to hear you.
Hello? Do you find that it's something you have to do again and again, or is it a once experience?
I don't do forgiveness. I don't do forgiveness. It is not my language. God offered grace, and I felt that forgiveness happened. Sawbonna is my relationship to that, to all of it. We are in shared humanity. I don't have to do anything to be in shared humanity. I'm in it. I truly do not do forgiveness. It's not a joke. I don't do it. I don't believe it. I don't believe I can do it. I believe there's something about it that just does not work for me. It does not. So no, I don't do it. It has been done through me, and I bow to that. But I would never say to somebody, do it. I would say, Sawbonna, I see you. I see our shared humanity. And the one thing I did not say about Sawbonna, the end game of Sawbonna, quite frankly, is love, which we don't actually have to, we are it. We are it. So no, I do not do it. No, I'm in Sawbonna. My dad's murderer just betrayed me. I wish him well because he's human like me. You know. Yeah. So I'm in Sawbonna.
If I can just add something to that, maybe. I mean, I'm always fascinated by language in a way, and actually a lot of quite few people who share their stories with the Forgiveness Project don't like to use the word forgiveness, and yet you might say that they have a forgiving mindset, or that they behave in a forgiving way. Like Rami Elahan, whose daughter was killed in Jerusalem by suicide bomber, is very clear. He says, I do not forgive and I do not forget. But the suicide bomber was a victim like my daughter, so bitter from shame and poverty. And he's part of the parent circle. And he's, you know, if you met him, the way he speaks, you'd say he's a man that oozes a forgiving, you know, he has forgiving qualities, but he doesn't like to use the word forgive. It doesn't work for him. So I think he gets stuck with words sometimes, because much of what you talk about is the same language.
It is. It is.
That word doesn't work for you.
Doesn't
because
work.
of all the baggage.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's misunderstood sometimes. Howard, and then Hatfield, and then a woman.
Would a woman like to go first? My name's Howard Grace. We were talking earlier on, Margot, and I didn't know what you were going to be talking about.
No.
But I said to you that for the last few months, the greatest thing in my heart has been this concept of shared humanity.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I wanted to hug you, but I didn't. I will later.
This evening, or this afternoon, when I was travelling here on the underground train, I was looking around at all the people on the train, their diversity, and I was thinking in my heart, this is shared humanity, all those people that were there. So I have no problems with people of different race or culture or religion sharing humanity on that level. But there are some people, even friends, who irk me.
Oh, yeah.
And I find it difficult to think of these individuals just because of who they are as shared humanity. So I'm wondering what you find most difficult in actually living shared humanity in your own life and how you deal with that.
That's a really, really good question. I find a lot of things difficult. I'm judgmental, I'm demanding, I'm passionate, I'm challenging. So I have all kinds of things, you know. And I have expectations, especially from government. And quite often I find the way that government, in Canada, I find we've got a lot of conservative going on right now. I find it very challenging. So I'm tempted to say, well, they are, you know. I find it very difficult because I really want to say, you know, the Premier of Ontario is just not a cup of tea for me. The Premier of Alberta. So I find it really difficult. I just want to say that. I want to name the person and say, I want to just shake them, you know. And then I have to remind myself, the conversations are going to happen. And how, Miss Margot, are you going to get yourself to the table to be in that conversation, to then be able to share a story about why we should not cut victim services, why we should not cut prison services. So I find the way that justice is done very, very challenging, very challenging. That's on that level. I'll tell you sometimes family members are also, I find it difficult, but then I really do say Sawbonna, and I stay away, because another thing that I believe is that if you put yourself in the situation where you're just going to be like this, you're not bringing anything to it. So stay away. It's better to stay away and still acknowledge how you feel, but stay away. Yeah.
Also on the shared humanity, just to share something that happened to us that is really quite incredible. In this secure unit we were at the end we had a bit of a debrief, and one of the occupational therapists there was in tears, and she said, I've never experienced anything like this. I think what she meant was, for once they were equal.
Yeah.
It wasn't the pseudo, the guard or the physician, you know. It was like what she was describing was shared humanity.
It was.
That we all had in that room.
It was.
And she said she'd never seen mostly men who were just vulnerable and open and interested. And she was in tears.
She was crying. She was totally crying because.
And I think it was shared humanity.
Oh yeah. And I will tell you, when I share my story, it happens. It happens wherever I go, and here's the reason. I'm not really good, I don't know if I'm that nice, but I really think, well, I ain't that bad. So when you go into a space where there's anger and pain, and people can, I feel it, I can channel it, and I speak in that way, and so then, one of the young fellows speaking today. Can I say his name? I'll say his name because it's a name I love. When I say it, you might guess why. Francis. I love this name. And this young fellow was going and asking the most amazing questions. And the conversation went, and he spoke about some bad things that happened to him, about being tasered once and twice, and he just wanted to wail these guards and do all this. You know what else he said? He said, but I was standing there, and I'm thinking of Martin Luther King. I'm thinking of Malcolm X. And then later on he spoke about Madiba. Mandela, I said, I want you on my team, man. Your passion, your anger, good. Feel it. I said, but you got anger, but you're not talking, I've got this anger now, and I'm going to go hang out with the Ku Klux Klan. He's talking about these fantastic people that are packed with passion. Packed with passion, and that's what happened today. People were coming from that energy, like they were saying their stuff. They were speaking about possibility. And a lot of people are afraid of anger. I'm not afraid of anger. I didn't give it to myself. The Lord gave it to me. Had a conversation with Sister Helen Pergen, and that's what she says as well. We have it, so it can take us to the next level. And this young man did it in there today, and oh my God. And the whole room started to open up. Yeah, powerful.
Patrick, I've been coming to this space since 1961. Is it working now? Yes? Doesn't feel like it. Thank you very much for all you said.
Thank you, Patrick.
And it reminded me of two particular things. One was one of the things that Frank Bookman, who started this work on moral rearmament, said. I never met him. But he said, those who suffered the most have the most to give. And I believe that profoundly. And it's actually the main reason why I've been to your country so often.
Romania.
Yes, because Romania suffered almost more than any other country. And the other thing that moved me very much, I don't know about any of you here, but I've been in tears quite a lot in the last 48 hours because of what's been happening in Sri Lanka and so on. Literally, I've been in tears. I think one can get more tearful things sometimes. And my younger daughter, rang me yesterday. And her boss in Denmark is the man whose 3 of his 4 children were killed in there. And I just wondered, not now, but after the end of the questions, we might have a prayer for this man's family. Because I can't think of anything more awful than to have 3 of your children. He and his wife and the other 4th child were all there at the time. And but thank you so much for what you said.
Thank you. May I make a comment about tears, please?
Yeah.
The book for which I won the award is called Dance with Your Healing. Tears, Let Me Begin to Speak. It's a poetry book and a workbook for writing exactly that. We have them for a reason. I'm sorry about your loss.